Hello everyone, today I'll continue sharing the story of the single mother, lytudiep. Hope you enjoy watching this video. Tulip. Alex's business was thriving. New projects were being signed one after another, and the company was expanding into multiple fields. Despite his packed schedule, he never stopped paying attention to Tuliep's life, the simple woman who spent her days caring for little Gagio and tending to her small backyard garden. Watching her move about, sunlight catching in her hair, his gaze softened. He knew she was trying to be independent, yet he couldn't help feeling a quiet ache seeing how much she had to bear alone. One afternoon, Alex sat across from her in their usual small cafe. His voice was warm and steady. "Nah, I think you deserve a chance to grow. I want you to study and work with me at the company. You have potential. You just don't believe it yet." Tulip lowered her head, stirring her tea slowly. "I only finished vocational school, and I've been at home for years. I'm afraid I'm not capable. Taking care of my child and the garden already keeps me busy." Alex smiled, his eyes filled with calm determination. "You don't need to be perfect right away. You just need to try. I believe if you learn, you'll succeed. I'll arrange a training course for you, and when you have free time you can come to the company. I'll guide you myself." His sincerity left her silent for a long time. She looked out the window. The golden glow of sunset brushed the treetops. Inside her stirred a mix of fear and hope. She knew stepping out of her comfort zone might change everything. Finally, she nodded softly. "All right, I'll try. But you have to promise not to laugh if I mess up." Alex chuckled, his eyes warmer than ever. "I promise. From now on you won't have to walk this path alone." From that day, Tulip began a new journey. Learning, working, and discovering the potential she never knew she had. And beside her was always the man who quietly supported her, ready to catch her if she stumbled. When she first started at Alex's company, she was both nervous and uneasy. Everything felt unfamiliar. The modern office, the well-dressed employees, the professional atmosphere so different from her peaceful little garden. Alex arranged for her to be a temporary assistant in the administration department, not too demanding but requiring care and precision. However, not everyone welcomed her presence. Within a few days, whispers began echoing through the corridors. "I heard the director personally brought her in. No degree, yet working in a big company like this. Must have powerful connections. Don't see what's special about her, except she's always with the boss." At first, Tulip tried to ignore it. She told herself that if she did her job well, people would eventually understand. But each time she passed the break room or coffee area, the side glances and quiet laughter weighed on her heart. One afternoon, as she was arranging documents, two co-workers nearby murmured, "Who gets in without an interview? Must be someone's favorite." She heard every word. Her hands trembled slightly as she gathered the papers, forcing back her tears. Later that day, Alex stopped by the office and immediately sensed something had changed. The sparkle in her eyes was gone, replaced by quiet weariness. When they were alone, he asked gently, "Nah, is something wrong? You look exhausted today." She forced a faint smile. "It's nothing. I just think maybe I don't belong here." Alex paused, then stepped closer. His tone was calm but firm. "I didn't bring you here out of pity. I brought you here because I know you can do this. I know what they're saying, but you don't need to prove anything with words. Just do your job well, and your results will silence them." Those words struck deep. Warmth and strength filled her heart. She knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but with Alex beside her, she had one more reason to keep going. From that day on, Tulip pushed herself harder than ever. Taking careful notes, asking experienced colleagues for help, staying late to finish reports. Slowly, the suspicious looks turned into curiosity, then respect. The woman once labeled the favored one became the one everyone admired for her perseverance and quiet determination. In the days that followed, Tu-na continued trying to fit in, quietly learning bit by bit. Every morning, she arrived at the office earlier than anyone else, wiping down her desk, neatly arranging the documents, and reviewing her notes from the previous day. She didn't want to make any mistakes. Even a small one could bring back all the whispers. But no matter how careful she was, Tu-na couldn't escape the curious stares. Some co-workers in the department, especially Han, a longtime employee, seemed annoyed whenever Alex stopped by her desk to check on her. Each time he did, Han would glance over, lips pressed together in thin, knowing lines. Then one rainy afternoon, everything changed. The administrative department was preparing the quarterly expense report. Tu-na had been assigned to compile the final data sheet. When the report was submitted, the department head discovered a major error. A number had been entered incorrectly, inflating the total expenses by hundreds of millions of dong. The room fell silent, and the first name called was, of course, Tu-na's. "What is this, Tu-na? This report is crucial. A mistake like this could cause serious consequences." The voice of the department head was stern. The air grew heavy. Then came the murmurs. "Told you so. Just someone who got in thanks to connections. No real skills." It was only a matter of time before she messed up. Tu-na lowered her head, her hands cold. She tried to explain, but the file on the computer really did carry her name. No one believed her. Alex, who had just returned from a business trip, came straight to the office upon hearing the news. He didn't say a word at first, only looked at her, long and silently. There was something in his eyes that made Tu-na's heart ache. She was afraid he would be disappointed. That night, after everyone had gone home, she stayed behind to check the data line by line. She reopened the old version, comparing every figure carefully. Near midnight, she noticed something strange. The file had been modified at noon, the exact time she was in a meeting. She remembered clearly. She had left her computer open, thinking she'd only be gone for a few minutes. Her heart tightened. Someone had done this on purpose. Without saying a word to anyone, she quietly redid the entire report, checking every number and matching each invoice to the original. By the time she finished, dawn was breaking. The next morning, Tu-na submitted the corrected version to the department head, along with proof of the file's modification history. She didn't accuse anyone. She simply said softly, "I'm sorry for the mistake. This is the correct version. I've rechecked everything." The manager reviewed it and nodded. Later, he brought it to Alex for approval. Alex said nothing, but when he saw the file's timestamp, saved around midnight, he understood everything. That afternoon, during a short meeting, Alex spoke up. "The recent issue has been resolved, and I'd like to acknowledge Ms. Tu-na, who stayed through the night to correct and verify the entire report. Thanks to her, the company avoided a serious loss." The room fell completely silent. No one dared to speak. The suspicious eyes from before now looked uncertain. Han kept her gaze down, while Tu-na simply bowed her head quietly. After the meeting, Alex walked over, placed a hand on her shoulder, and said warmly, "I know you're tired, but you did very well today. Facing it on your own. That's what I've always believed you could do." Tu-na looked up, eyes red but shining. She smiled faintly. "I just didn't want to disappoint you. That's all." In that moment, Alex realized the gentle woman standing before him was far stronger than she appeared. Her resilience was something no gossip could crush. And from then on, her true journey of growth in the professional world had begun. In the days that followed, the office was unusually quiet. Everyone knew that Director Alex had discovered what happened, but no one knew how he would respond. As for Tu-na, even after being cleared, she chose silence. She didn't want trouble. She only wished to work in peace and prove herself through her actions. But Alex couldn't let it go. He secretly asked the IT department to check the internal access logs. Within hours, the truth came out. Someone had accessed Tuna's computer and edited the data during her meeting. It was Han. When Alex called Han into a private meeting, she denied everything at first. But when he showed her the access log and hallway camera footage, her face went pale. "You've got it wrong. I just wanted to fix a small mistake quickly." Her voice trembled, eyes filling with tears. Alex looked at her, his tone cold and resolute. Fix it quickly? Or deliberately frame someone else to bring them down? Silence fell. Finally, he made his decision. Han was suspended, and the case was handed over to Human Resources for further action. The news spread quickly through the company. Those who had gossiped or laughed at Tuna now walked past her in silence. Someone even left a small note on her desk. "I was wrong to judge you based on rumors." That afternoon, Alex called Tuna to his office. She entered nervously. He was standing by the window, the golden light outlining his thoughtful face. "The investigation's finished," he said slowly. "It was Han. But I want to ask, do you want me to make this public?" Tuna shook her head gently. "There's no need. Everyone knows enough already. I don't want anyone to lose their job because of me. I just want to work in peace." Alex looked at her, his eyes full of both admiration and affection. "You always think of others, even when you're the one who's been hurt. Do you know why I've always believed in you?" She looked up surprised. He stepped closer, his voice soft but steady. "Because you have something rare, kindness." Unable to hold it in, Tuna lowered her face as tears slid down her cheeks. Alex gently brushed them away with his thumb. "Don't cry. It's over now. From this moment on, I won't let anyone hurt you again." She nodded, feeling the warmth and quiet strength in his touch. A silent promise of protection. After that day, Tuna was no longer the same. She became more confident, more assertive. When she walked through the company halls, the glances she received were no longer scornful, but respectful. And Alex, despite his busy schedule, always kept an eye on her. Once, in a company-wide meeting, he stood before everyone and declared, "None of us have the right to judge another person by their past or their background. Talent only blooms when it's given a chance, and trust." The room erupted in applause. Among the crowd, Tuna smiled quietly, her eyes finding Alex's. To her, he was no longer just a director. He was the man who had given her faith and a new beginning. As time went by, Tuna gradually became a familiar face in the company. From the timid, unsure woman she once was, she had grown into someone who could confidently present reports, coordinate small teams, and even join strategic meetings with Alex. Those who had once doubted her now had to admit, she wasn't just capable, she had vision, subtlety, and sharp intuition in her work. One Monday morning, Alex unexpectedly called her into his office. Placing a thick folder in front of her, he smiled slightly. "I want you to take charge of the collaboration project with the L&M Group in Singapore. This is a big opportunity for you to prove yourself." Tuna froze. "Me in charge? But I've never managed an international project before." "I'm afraid," Alex interrupted gently, his voice calm but full of conviction. "I didn't choose the wrong person. You're ready, and I'll be here whenever you need support." For the first time, Tuna felt such strong trust placed in her. She accepted the role, determined not to disappoint him. The partnership quickly drew attention. Both internal media and international partners took notice. It was a major step forward for Alex's company as it expanded into regional markets. Tuna worked tirelessly with barely a day off. She learned to draft contracts, communicate with foreign partners via video calls, and coordinate between departments. But with success came pressure. Some in the company began whispering that Alex was promoting his lover, that Tuna wasn't qualified, just lucky to be favored. The tension peaked when a business magazine published an article titled, "Young CEO Alex and His Beautiful Assistant: The Special Relationship Behind a $1 Million Project." The article spread rapidly online, stirring gossip. Clients began asking questions, and the company's shareholders emailed Alex demanding an explanation to protect the firm's image. The next morning, as Tuna entered the office, everyone's eyes followed her. A printed copy of the article lay on her desk. Someone had deliberately left it there. Her hands trembled, her chest tightened. All her hard work seemed to crumble because of a few careless words. When Alex walked in, the atmosphere was tense. He looked around and said firmly, "Everyone, please step out for 10 minutes. I need to speak with Ms. Tuna privately." Once the room was empty, Tuna spoke with a choked voice. "You don't have to defend me. Maybe I should quit. I don't want to bring trouble to you or the company." Alex stepped closer, his voice steady and resolute. "Now listen to me. I don't need someone perfect. I need someone genuine. This project is your hard work. No one has the right to take that from you. Leave the press to me." That afternoon, Alex held a press conference. In front of cameras, he stated clearly, "Ms. Tuna is not just my assistant. She is the person behind the entire strategic development of the L&M project. I'm proud to have such a dedicated employee on my team." The room went silent. And from the back, Tuna stood still, tears streaming down her cheeks. Not from pain but from gratitude. Soon after, a correction was published in a major newspaper. Public opinion shifted, turning the story into the inspiring journey of a resilient woman rising through adversity. L&M not only kept the partnership, but even sent a congratulatory message. One evening, after another successful meeting, Alex looked at her with gentle eyes. "I told you before. No matter how fierce the storm, I'll never let anyone hurt you." Tuna smiled softly and replied, her voice tender but steady, "And I'll never let you fight alone again." They stood by the window, the setting sun painting the glass with gold, their reflections filled with trust and quiet strength. The storm had passed, but a new journey between them was just beginning. One built on both love and shared dreams. In the days following the project's success, it seemed peace had returned, but the undercurrents in the company had not subsided. The more Tuna excelled, the more uneasy some colleagues became. They still couldn't accept that a woman who once tended a garden without a degree could now sit beside the director in major meetings. Each morning as she entered the office, people greeted her brightly. "Good morning, Ms. Na. You look lovely today. Off to another meeting with the boss, huh?" She always smiled politely, answering with quiet humility. But as soon as she walked away, the whispers would start again. "She's smart. She knows how to win the boss over. Guess the director's pretty taken with her. That's why she's risen so fast. Looks all innocent, but clearly she knows how to seize opportunities." Those small stinging words pricked at Tuna's heart day after day. She heard them even when they thought she didn't. Once, standing outside the break room, she overheard two coworkers talking. "Alex is handsome and rich. He could have anyone. What does she have? Just luck. People like her never last long." Her throat tightened. She turned away silently, eyes burning. The sadness and shame grew heavier with each passing day. That night Alex called. His voice was calm but caring. "You don't sound happy. Did someone upset you?" She paused for a moment, then forced a small laugh through the phone. "It's nothing. I'm just a little tired." But Alex knew. He could sense something was wrong. The next morning he arrived earlier than usual. Passing by the admin office, he heard faint giggles and insinuations. His expression hardened. He walked straight in, the room fell silent. His voice was low and firm. "This company grows because of effort, not gossip. If anyone wants to talk about others instead of working, the door's right there. We don't need people who can't respect their colleagues." No one dared to breathe. Heads bowed in silence. When everyone had left, Alex turned toward Tuna. She sat quietly at her desk, eyes glistening. He walked closer, his tone softening. Don't let their words hurt you. They don't know how hard you've worked, the nights you stayed up till dawn. But I do. I see it. And I believe in you. Tuna looked up, tears shining in her eyes. I'm afraid they're right. Maybe I'm not worthy of you. Alex smiled faintly, resting a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Worthy or not, no one gets to decide that for us. Only I know who I want by my side. In that moment, Tuna said nothing. She simply lowered her head as silent tears fell. But something within her shifted. She realized that only genuine faith and love could silence the cruelest voices. From that day on, Tuna stopped hiding. She held her head high and worked with quiet confidence. The gossip didn't disappear, but every time she caught Alex's steady, reassuring gaze, she knew she was no longer alone.
Xin chào mọi người, rất vui được gặp lại mọi người trong video của mình. Chúc mọi người có một ngày mới vui vẻ và hạnh phúc. Hy vọng rằng những video của mình sẽ mang đến niềm vui cho mọi người mỗi khi xem. Hiện tại kênh của mình đang kể về câu chuyện của người mẹ đơn thân Lý Tử Na. Và sau những khó khăn thì Tử Na đã được Anex yêu thương và giúp đỡ. Thậm chí Anex còn hỗ trợ cô trong công việc rất là nhiều. Tử Na sẽ đón nhận những cuộc sống mới như thế nào thì mời mọi người đón xem ở những video tiếp theo nha. Và hiện tại thì kênh của mình đang phát hành 2 câu chuyện về người mẹ đơn thân Lý Tử Na và Diệu Hân vào khung giờ 7 giờ tối và 7 giờ sáng tại Việt Nam. Mọi người nhớ chú ý đón xem để không bỏ lỡ video nào nhé. Cảm ơn mọi người đã xem hết video hôm nay. Rất mong mọi người ủng hộ kênh của mình để mình có động lực làm nhiều video hơn. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại mọi người ở video lần sau nha.